Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Budgeting and Savings Idea Workshop. My name is Louis Piccolo. I'm a program manager for Wells Fargo Bank. Thank you, everyone, for coming and taking some time to invest in your financial future and setting some goals and really trying to achieve what you need to achieve in life. You should all have a copy of this budget toolkit. Does everyone have one? Does anyone not have one? Can we get those out to those people, please? Because we're going to be referencing it, from time to time as I go through this. So, just want to make sure you all have it. You just keep your hand up. They'll bring it all to you. They have them right now. They're being deployed. All right. So I guess while they're doing that, we could talk about how to make shrimp and grits or something like that. Just kidding with you. Let's talk about what we'll cover today. So first we're going to discuss setting some financial goals that you'd like to accomplish. The next thing we'd like to do is walk you through the steps that'll provide you with the tools that you need to help build a budget. And then lastly, we're going to provide some ideas and some tips that'll be helpful with managing your money so that you'll be able to develop a little bit more control over your personal financial situation. So I have a couple more here. I love this quote. I mean, I know it's funny. If you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else. But it's true. I mean, think about it for a second. And it's obviously applicable to anywhere in your life, your career, your finances. It's just like anything in life. You have to know where you're going. It represents the goal that you have for yourself, the where you're going. It's your desired destination. How you get there is really the plan that you create, right? Just like if you're driving somewhere. Without these, you're going to end up someplace that you don't want to be in. Financially, you do not want to end up someplace that you don't want to be. It's the last thing you want. It takes a long time to kind of rebuild yourself once you go down a dark path. But it's not insurmountable by any means. So setting financial goals. What's important to you? Is it that you want to buy a house? Is it you want to pay off a mortgage? Maybe you have a mortgage and you're just sick of it. You want to get rid of it. You want to get out of debt. Maybe just save up for a rainy day. Just to have that rainy day fund that you've never been able to really put together before. It's not easy, right? And again, if you don't have a roadmap, it's all that much more difficult. But whatever it is, it needs to be important to you, because if it's not, you're not going to work towards it. So just be realistic when you set these type of goals. So what are your financial goals? Is it to build an emergency fund or a savings that can cover maybe 3 to 6 months? God forbid you were to lose your job. Maybe car repairs, things like that. Maybe that's one of your goals. Maybe it's to save up for a vacation so you don't have to load it all up on your credit card. We all want to go away on vacation, and a lot of us put that plan in place without having saved the money first, thrown on a credit card. It's a lot easier, right? But maybe your goal is not to do that. Maybe your goal is to put a plan in place that helps you save money before you go away on that, before you book that vacation, before you go away, and get all the money that you need. Maybe a holiday gift. Maybe you want to save, get something special for somebody. Maybe your child's education. This is an institute of higher education. We all know the costs. So maybe that's something that you want to do. Maybe a down payment on a house. Maybe you want to put down 20% on a house. You don't have to. There's plenty of programs available for you to do less, but maybe that's your goal. Maybe that's what you want to do. So what other ideas, do you have? You think about some examples. Think about, some things that are really important to you. And really let's start narrowing it down, right? So we've all got the budget toolkits now, right? Everybody has one? Anybody not have one? We still have one more, 2 more. Do we have more budget toolkits we can get to these 2 young ladies? Because we are now going to look at it. If I could ask the people that do have them while we try to get additional ones for you, if you could turn to page 2 and look at the top where it says Financial Goals Worksheet. Everybody there? All right, take a few minutes. Just write down a couple of your financial goals you'd like to keep in mind as we talk about today. As we go through today, just write a couple things down. You know, financial goals, they're going to help set where you want to go, and your budget plan is going to act as your roadmap. So just if you could write a couple of your personal goals down that we're going to keep in mind as we go through this. Don't worry about the goals you write down, right now. You could and should come back to this worksheet and revise it to keep it relevant in your life. It's just like a business plan, right? It lives and breathes as your life changes, as things change. So don't be overly concerned, but just let's have a little jumping off point, a couple things that are important to you written down. Everybody good? All right, so here we're going to talk about where your money is going, because that is one of the largest problems in most people's lives. I had that problem for many, many years, that money just seems to go, right? I mean, can everyone agree with that? You kind of look at your account statement, you're like, where'd that go? I know I had more in there. And it goes a lot of places that we don't even think about. So let's discuss some ways that we could put that information into a budget and get you saving for your future goals. So the first thing we're going to want to do is track what you spend. We want to do this for about 1 or 2 months, and it's simple. I mean, it really is simple to do, but we're going to track it. We're going to record the amount we spend with cash, with debit cards, with credit cards, money we pull out of the ATM machine. We're going to correlate it by looking at our bank statements, ATM receipts. We want to keep all this stuff. Keep every receipt. I'm not asking you to do this for the rest of your life, but do it for a month or two. Okay? Do it for maybe about 6 weeks. Keep every receipt, even if you buy a cup of coffee. Okay? Keep it all. Take a look at it, put it all together, and you're going to be surprised when you see where it goes. Has anyone here ever done this before? Would anyone like to share that experience? Did it help you? Do we have a microphone that we can get to anybody? Come one of my guys, come Britt, or my girl, Laura, Karen. I'm sorry, I'm very interested in this. I just want to hear, anybody want to share their experience? This young lady over there.
And if you're also missing one of the booklets, if you also raise your hand, the gentlemen are coming around with
Oh,
those.
yeah, right here. Yes,
I
ma'am.
couldn't believe it because I thought I put everything on a charge card and I would try to pay it off, but I couldn't believe it when I realized what I was spending outside of it and when I added all my monthly bills up. And the result of that was I became very aware and I just cut back on everything.
Excellent.
Totally cut back.
And you still doing that?
Yeah, I've been doing it. I started that, keeping all the receipts and adding everything up in October. And it just scared me. And I weaned myself down. Now this month, the only thing I have on there is like $100. And it's scary. It's just scary. And it's making the transition from credit card to cash is hard because I'm a plastic girl.
Tough. I know, it's very tough to do.
Yeah.
I know, it's very tough. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. I appreciate it. There's a firsthand, now that's not me telling you, okay? There's a firsthand account of somebody that said, when I actually looked and tracked every dollar, whoa, eye-opening. There's a book by a gentleman named David Ramsey, okay? And he writes about, anybody ever heard of David Ramsey? He writes financial books, budgeting, savings, those type of things. And he had a statistic that really threw me for a loop. It was about buying cars, okay? And I'm not telling you to not do this or do this. I just want to give you an understanding of how far money goes when you stop wasting it, okay? So he had always said, until you're out of debt in your life and everything, don't buy new cars. Buy, the most used car you can get just to get you from point A to point B. And he actually did a mathematical calculation that using an average car payment of, I think it was about $400. Now, this is not exact numbers. I'm trying to remember, but trust me, it's very close. It was about a $400 car payment. Saying that you're going to do this every year of your life, because a lot of people lease cars, right? If you put that $400 from when you were 25 years old into an account giving you about between 7 and 11% interest, by the time you were 60, you'd have $5 million. I think that's better than driving some nicer cars. In the end, you get to drive whatever you want. And that was his point, was I drive whatever I want now. I buy whatever I want now because I was tough with myself for years. I'm not saying you got to live like a pauper. I'm not saying to deny yourself everything. But you really need to look and kind of try to track this stuff and see where it's getting away from you.
Louis?
Yes?
We had someone else that wanted to share a story.
Oh, I would love to hear another story. Because this is where the rubber meets the road. This is not just some guy up here talking. This is people that have really experienced, real life here.
So I just wanted to make everyone aware that there is a free app that I use, and I don't know if banks offer this as well, but the app I use is called Wally, W-A-L-L-Y, not E like the Disney movie. And it's just an easy way, like you put your income in each month, and then you can track your expenses. And I track everything. So if I go to Starbucks and I buy a latte, I'm putting it in there because all of that adds up. You can decide whether or not you're using cash, whether you're using the money you save from your income, and you can create a savings goal each month. It tells you what your budget is and how much you have left to use within that budget too.
Excellent. I hope you guys wrote that down. That's a great tool to use. Thank you for that. So here's how we kind of look at things, right? What can I use for savings or other goals? So we break your income into two categories, your needs and your wants, right? So your needs are obviously going to be things like your mortgage, your rent, your utilities. You got to have these, you have to live, right? Wants is things like going out to dinner, to the movies, to travel, to get Starbucks coffee, or 7-Eleven or Wawa, whatever you like. You can cut costs on things like utilities or other things, but you can't with things like your mortgage, right? You can't cut costs there. It is what it is. I mean, yeah, you can try to refinance or whatever, but once that's done, it is what it is. So we have to take a look at the wants list. The needs, they're what you need. So subtracting your expenses, from your income is what we're going to have left to start dealing with savings and your long-term needs. So we want to, make sure that we want to make sure to add the debt and don't spend more than 10 to 20% of your budget on monthly debt payments. That is a great goal to shoot for, to not spend more than 10 to 20% of your budget on your monthly debt payments. Okay? If you can, pay more monthly than the minimum. Attack one at a time, because if you're just shotgun shooting, you're not going to get anywhere. There's something called the snowball effect. Is anyone familiar with the snowball effect? Okay, what it is this. So you have a list of debts that you need to pay, credit cards, whatever they are that you want to pay off. You could even include your mortgage in this if you want. You attack the one with the lowest balance first. So let's say you have a credit card, it only has $800 or something like that. That's the one you go for first. You pay extra money, okay? Once that one is paid off, you now increase whatever that payment was. Let's say it was $25 a month. Your next lowest card is now an additional $25 a month until you pay that off. Let's say that was $50. Now it's an extra $75. You understand what I'm doing? So as you pay each thing off, you now increase the payment on the next one, okay? And it starts snowballing on itself, and things start getting paid off very quickly. You'd be surprised. Again, always go for the lowest hanging fruit, for the lowest debt first. And then when you pay that off, add that on to the next one, to the next one, the next one. And it starts snowballing, and you get things paid off very expeditiously. You also want to, something to factor in is, high interest rates. See if you can try to refinance that debt. A lot of people are saddled with big interest rates, and all you're doing is giving your money to me, the bank. I thank you for it, but I think it's probably better in your pockets. Don't you agree? You don't want to give it to me. I'm a nice guy, but I'd rather you have your money. Okay, so try to refinance any debts that are at really high levels, because again, you're just throwing that money away. And we'll take it, but I'd rather you have it. All right. Another tip is, sometimes it helps if you set up cash envelopes. I know that's a little strange in today's day and age, but when we have a debit card, even a debit card, if we're not using our credit cards, we're using our debit card, it's kind of like fake money, right? Because you're not really taking physical money. You don't see it. It's just, you're just swiping. Same thing with the Apple. You're just swiping things. It's not real. That's why casinos love you to use the slot machines, because it's not real. You put all that money in and it's fake. You're just hitting the buttons. So try to use cash sometimes. Set up a little cash envelope. Say, you know what? My groceries, I want to spend $150 this week, this month, whatever it is. Put it in a cash envelope and only allow yourself to spend that much. Because if you use a card, you're not going to be honest. Same thing with entertainment, okay? I'm only going to spend $50 this week on entertainment. Whatever you consider entertainment, movies, dinner, whatever. Put it in a cash envelope, okay? And that's all you're allowed to spend. Because again, when we use these plastic things, it's fake and we don't keep ourselves honest. Put it in an envelope, in cash, and say, this is all I'm spending. You got to be a little tough with yourself so when you come out the other side, you can be very good to yourself. All right. Now we're going to go to page 3 in the budget toolkit, please. And, we don't have time, obviously, to complete the whole thing today. But we want to work on building your budget by following these steps. On page 3, what you're going to do is you're going to write down your monthly income sources in the top left section. If you're already saving, then list what you save each month in the monthly savings section on the top right. Like I know that young lady's saving her money over there, so we're going to write that up there. And then last thing we're going to do is we're going to write down your monthly expenses and total them up in the middle section. Okay, this is your money out. This is what comes out of your pocket. Now you can use tracking log that we discussed in the previous slide, or you could just put the expenses directly into the worksheet, or you could use the app that lady mentioned up there. Like I said, you don't have to use this worksheet. You could use any spreadsheet, notepad, app, but it's just a matter of seeing it and tracking it, okay? Because what we don't see and what we don't track in life doesn't grow, doesn't get fixed, right? So once you have an accurate picture here of where your money's going, then you may consider spending things differently, right? Once you actually see that, just like this woman, and that's why I asked for examples. She gave us a great example. She saw where it was going, and she changed her habits based on that, okay? So you'll be able to know what you're doing, know what you'll have left at the end of the month, and set up a plan, how much you want to save, what you want to pay off, once you see it in front of you. All right, so next. Do I have any money left over at the end of the month, right? We're going to look at our sheet, do the math, and we see what we have left. Now we know what we have to work with. Or we know if we have to make some changes in our lives, right? Because if we do the math and it's negative or it's, $10 left over, there may be some hard decisions that you have to make. And, always remember this, okay? And I had a boss that used to say this, so that's why I'm going to share it with you. Hope is not a strategy. It's not. You could hope that you're going to make more money. You could hope the debt's going to go. You could hope you're going to pay it off. Not a strategy. So, again, I want you to make some really hard, because you're here because you want to get to the next level financially, right? And I'm just asking you to try to make some hard choices. Really look at it. Put it down, be honest with yourself. It's the only way we can get to the next level. Again, if this number's negative, you got to think about things differently. But let's hope it's positive, okay? And that we're not spending more than we're earning. Because then we got to determine what you have to cut out of your life. Now we want to check our budget each month. Okay, this is not something that we're going to do once and then forget about. Because guess what happens? You forget about it and you start going back to the same habits and you'll be in the same spot. We don't want that. We want you to move to the next level. All right? So once you have a budget plan, you'll want to check it, like I said, at least monthly. I know most people probably check it weekly, because once you start doing it, you want to do it. You want to see where it's going. You want to keep that momentum going, that snowball rolling. So check in with it weekly, okay? At the minimum monthly, but weekly is probably better. Again, this is going to help you understand what's happening, and you're going to see it a little better rather than just swiping things. It's going to be real to you. So as you check the plan, some things to remember or consider is to make any changes that aren't working, right? Anything that's not getting you to your goal, or maybe something just changed in your life. That's reality, right? So you may need to make some adjustments. So this is why we're always going back to this plan. Anybody have any ideas they want to share on ways that, strategies or things that they've done to save money? Any little tricks that they've done? Anything that anyone's done here? Anyone want to share anything? Yes, ma'am. Can we get a microphone to that young lady right there, please? Because again, I don't want this all to come from me. You guys have great ideas also, and like we've heard already, so I'd love to hear. Yes, ma'am.
So what I do is, I went to the dollar store. I got envelopes, 100 envelopes, and I numbered them 1 through 100. And for the first one, you put $1 in that one.
Okay.
Then the second one, you put $2 in there, so forth and so on.
I love
So by the end of the year, if you start January the 1st, by the end of the year, you should have $5,000.
I love that. I'm so glad that you shared that. Thank you so much. That's amazing, right? And that's how simple is that? And you're only doing little bits. 1, 2, 3, right? Little bits at a time. You want to, here, get her back on the mic.
You do it when you can. I mean, for me, I pick like 3 envelopes every time I get paid, and I just put it in there. It's like bingo. Just choose one out and put the money in there. And I start from the top. Like I started with the $100 to 90 first. And so those are filled up, and now I'm going down.
Oh, making it easier for yourself.
Yeah,
oh, I love that. Again, get the pain first, right? First the pain, then the pleasure.
Yeah.
Because if it's the pleasure first, guess what? The pain's coming after.
Right,
So
right.
she's got the right method.
Yeah.
The pain first, the pleasure later.
Right.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much again for sharing that. Anybody else had any little tips or anything that worked for them? Yes, ma'am.
What I do is we have a credit union, so I have them take it out of my paycheck, $50 every 2 weeks, and I have $1,000 and I don't touch it.
Again, amazing, because you're not even thinking about it. It's all, you're saving automatically, right? You don't even have to, it's like a bill. I don't have that. It's not part of my money that I get to spend. It's gone. 2 amazing tips right there that you guys, I would do both. I'm probably going to do the cash envelope thing. I love that. That's a brilliant way to save money so easily. And fun. It's almost like a fun little thing that you're doing, Anyone else? You don't have to. All right. Great. Thank you so much, guys, again. All right, so let's move to the next slide. So now some tips and tools for managing your money. Not having good enough control and knowledge of your money is a source of stress, right? And stress is the #1 killer in the world. So, and money is the leading cause of stress. So, again, I'm glad you're here and we're talking about it and just, kind of sharing ideas with each other. It also could practically, affect your credit rating too, right? Your ability to get a car, a home loan at a reasonable interest rate. And that just makes things harder for you, right? Everything compacts on each other, right? If we're not careful with our money and it affects our credit, now when we need to borrow money for cars, houses, whatever, we have to pay more for them because we're more of a risk to the bank, and that's going to further inhibit your ability to pay those debts that you want to pay off or to make that savings that you want to make. You're just further impacting, okay? So it's really smart to follow all these ideas that we're talking about today. So here's a little scenario for you guys. What should Diane pay first? Can everyone see that? Yeah, okay. So what should Diane pay first? She wants to pay for things in the right order, so that she covers her needs. So A, the first thing I'll do is set aside money I need for everyday expenses like groceries, gas, and housing. B, I know I have some expenses coming, so I better set that money aside first. C, before I do anything else, I'm going to pay my bills. D, first I need to pay myself by putting away some money into my savings. Who wants to guess what the right answer is? Yes, ma'am. Which one?
D.
D
in
or
David.
C? D. D is the correct answer. Always pay yourself first. Always. You might have heard that phrase before. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He always says that in his books. Pay yourself first. It's a critical thing to do. It's the time value of money. The time value of money says money is more valuable today than it is tomorrow because you can invest it, okay? So it's important to pay yourself first. And I know that's difficult to do, but that's what we're here talking about, right? As we see, the correct answer is D. So, I know a lot of people always think, B or C because you got to pay your bills. And you do. I'm not saying that you shouldn't pay your bills, but you have to pay yourself first, and then you pay your bills. If your current situation does not support this approach, of paying yourself first, it might be a sign that it's time for you to really review where you're spending your money. When we fill out our budget toolkit and look where all of our money's going, if you can't pay yourself first, it's time to take a hard look and say, what do I need to cut? What do I need to reduce? Maybe even, I hate to say it, maybe even a second job. Just for a little while. I know a lot of people that have done that, picked up a little extra work on the side just to get that ball rolling. Again, you'd be surprised once the ball gets rolling and you're invested in it, how quickly things start happening. You don't have to keep a second job for your whole life. Maybe it's just 6 months, a year, and that got you to the point where now you can make bigger payments on other things because you got other things paid off. So these are just things that you want to keep in mind. And there's a lot of, little extra work you can get out there with the internet these days, right? I mean, you could do stuff from home easily, sell things on eBay, be a medical transcriber or something, Just keep it in the back of your mind. So keeping our budget on track. So keep it simple is the biggest thing. Don't get too detailed because you'll make yourself nuts. You won't follow it. Set aside money each period to cover expenses that may not come up on a monthly basis, things like car repairs, insurance, gifts for people, your birthday gifts, whatever it is. Try to set a little bit aside for that as you're going through this. Watch your transition regularly online, all your transactions, I mean. Everybody here use mobile apps for their banking? It's an easy, quick way to find out what's going on. And a lot, I know that we have one, but a lot of the banks now even have a spending tracker right on their app. I mean, a lot of the work's done for you. So these are other things to keep in mind, is maybe put whatever your bank is or your credit card company, put that app on your phone. And again, most of these apps now do the tracking for you. You could really learn a lot by using them. I know we have a great one. They say there's a rule on a budget to keep 5-30-20. It's a 5-30, so no more than 50%, so 50-30-20. No more than 50% of your money should be spent on your needs, right? And we discussed what the needs are. The needs are my mortgage, my utilities, things that I need to be able to function in life. But you shouldn't spend more than 50% of your income on that, all right? 30, no more than 30% of your money should go towards your wants. I want to go out to dinner. I want to go to the movies. I want a cup of coffee. I want pizza. I could go for some pizza. So really, you should keep that number at 30. I actually think these numbers are a little high myself, but it's a good rule of thumb. So 50, 30, and then 20 is what you set aside for savings. 20% of what you make, okay? Many things, right? Emergencies, retirement. They're called emergencies because we don't plan on them. I didn't have to plan on fixing my water heater, but I did. And thank God I had the money set aside to get a new one and replace all the wet things that are now in the basement. If you ever had that happen, it's not a lot of fun. So money-saving ideas, we've already got some great money-saving ideas. But, here's some additional ones that, lower-cost alternative to things, shopping interest rates, break a habit. Maybe you're a coffee drinker and you feel like you need your Starbucks or your Dunkin' Donuts coffee every day. Maybe for a year you don't. Maybe you buy a bulk at Costco and you make your coffee at home instead. Take it with you. Again, you'd be surprised how much coffee dollars add up. It's unbelievable. I don't drink coffee, so I'm good there. Again, paying yourself first is critical. Consider, moving money into savings accounts that have high yields, things like CDs, money market accounts, things that will bring you money back, okay? Obviously, those things have risk to them, as anything does. But that'll help move you along. Interest compounds on itself. What's better than your money making money? What could be better than that? Your money making money for you. I love it. Maybe another one is a buy nothing week. Anybody ever done this? I've done this. I'm not buying anything this week. Maybe you have to buy groceries, but I'm not buying anything. I'm not buying a new shirt. I'm not buying, a little thing I see in the store, a little earring that, it's only $5. No, I'm not buying anything this week, and I'm going to see what I have left at the end of the week, and I'm going to save it all. Little things like that add up so quickly, and I know I keep saying that, but I want it to resonate with you. That's why I'm repeating it over and over again. It really adds up quickly. So spending and shopping tips. When you're at the store, shop with a list. I know I've been guilty many times of that impulse buy. That's why they set that stuff up at the register, because they know that, I could use that. It's only $8. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. So bring a list and try to stick with your list. Use the cash envelope I told you about. I'm going to the store and I'm spending $50, period. I brought the cash, not using my ATM card. Here is what I'm spending, and that's it. Do I really need that? Do I really need it today? Can I wait for that item? Chances are you probably could. We waste a lot of money on stuff we don't need. We're consumers. It's a consumer economy. I get it, but we really do. It's almost like your desk, right? Everybody here have a desk, or even at home, that junk drawer. When you actually clean it out, you're like, I don't use any of this stuff. I could throw it all away. It's the same thing with a lot of the stuff that we buy. So just kind of keep in the back. Do I need that? Do I really, really need that right now? Or could I wait to get it? Watch, and this is sounds like your parent, but watch the items as they get rung up. We all trust computers so much. How many times I've caught things that were incorrectly priced? Don't just let it go through. Same thing in a restaurant. I've been in restaurants and I've seen people hand the guy the card without even looking at the bill. What are you doing? You're that wealthy that if they put 5 things on that you didn't order, you're fine paying for it? So just, it's all about being cognizant and being judicious, right? Just like I said about every dollar we're spending, keeping receipts. It's the same thing when we're at the store. Be judicious. Do I need this? Do I want this? What's the difference between, is it need or a want? When you're making a major purchase, that's another big one. A lot of people don't comparison shop. I know most of you do, but a lot of people don't. They don't want to cause trouble, or they don't have the time. It makes a difference. You could save yourself hundreds or thousands of dollars by comparison shopping. And especially people that want to win your business. Pit them up against one another. I'm telling you that right now. That may sound evil, but put people up against one. Hey, this guy's giving me this. Stores will do it too. PC Richard will beat anybody's price. You bring in anything, they'll match anything. So just keep pitting. I've gotten things down so much, but I just keep going back and forth between 2 or 3 stores. Oh, this guy's doing this now. You can beat them up. They want your business. Believe me. And always keep your goals in mind as you're doing this, right? Keep your goals that I want to save, I want to pay off debt, whatever those goals are. And then try to be creative. We've heard some really creative approaches today, and I'm trying to give you some creative approaches as well. What do you know? I said the same thing. A little bit goes a long way. I love this extrapolation because, again, eye-opening, right? Look at the money that gets spent a year. Look at that money. Look in 20 years. Do you really want to spend 20 years from now say, oh, I spent $15,000 on coffee? You could have a pool in your house for 15 grand. Would you rather have that or a bunch of coffees that you could make at home? Another one, I don't know if it's on here. It was on another presentation I did. Pizza's another one. Now, I'm Italian. It's a law. You have to like pizza. They'll take you away to Italy if you don't. Thank you for laughing. But in all seriousness, the extrapolation of what we spend on pizza, it was I think it was like $6,000 a year if you order like a pizza a week or something like that, or 2 pizzas. I don't remember but it was, I maybe not want to order pizza my wife started buying stuff at Costco, like little like frozen pizzas, that they have there, because like a third of the money. Once I showed her how much pizza costs over the years, it's scary. So again, you don't want to have to say that you spent $26,000 on lunch. I mean, lunch is delicious, but make a peanut butter and jelly. And if you're allergic to peanut butter, I'm sorry, bring an EpiPen. Just kidding. I respect your allergy very much. All right, so now that we have some tips, what are some of the ideas that are going to help you get there? Go back to page 2 and think about those goals that you wrote down, right? You wrote some stuff down before we started all this. Do you have any ideas now? What's going to get you those goals? Did we hear anything today that, ooh, you know what? That's going to bring me there. Or you know what? I need to add another thing in there, or take one of these off, or put a few more. Think of 1 or 2 of the tips that you heard today that you could put in practice right away. Don't just take this book home and put it away. Take something away today. Even if it's, just one of the ideas that, if it's not me, maybe, that one of the audience members gave us that were great. Just try something, even if it's not this whole kit, which I do encourage you to do, because as we've heard, once you see things written out, it's going to be eye-opening. I had a colleague that started bringing her lunch to work when her daughter went to college, and she eats 1 day a week as a treat. So she brings her lunch 4 days, and she takes herself out 1 day a week. So if you go out every day of the week, hello. Is that you telling me to leave? All right. Okay, I'll finish. I understand. No, but I mean, just again, that's just another simple idea. Really simple. You know what? I'm not going to go out every day. I'm going to go out only 1 day. Just treat myself. A little treat, maybe once a month, whatever it is. Just anything that we can do to get us there. And we're almost done. We only have 2 more slides. There's other tools and resources here that we have at Wells Fargo for you. There's a My Savings Plan on our website. We have Budget Watch. So all these things are part of Wells Fargo. So if you go to wellsfargo.com, you could find all this. And My Money Map tool is really, really fantastic. And we just put the stuff out there for you guys just because, you're probably saying, well, what do you guys have to gain out of this? We like an educated consumer. We want to be able to offer you the best products and services. We want you to be educated, and we want you, because if you're not, it only hurts us too, right? If you can't pay your bills, it hurts us too. So, I mean, it's not totally altruistic, but we do. We want you to be a happy, educated consumer. We want to be able to have a partnership with you, financially. And that's why we go through all this. So, moving forward, I want you to look back a year from now, and I really hope that you've taken some of these steps and you say to yourself, you know what, I'm glad that I did X, Y, or Z, whatever it is that you want to take away from today. You used the toolkit, you used some of the ideas the other participants have had here, but I want you to really take a look back in a year and say, my financial picture is better than it was a year ago. Whether it's savings, whether it's paying that snowball debt effect that I told you about, but I really want you to make some type of financial progress, because I don't want you to be stressed out. And that's really just an honest thing, because finances is the biggest stress inducer that there is. I mean, it's just a fact. And I don't want you guys to feel that way. I want you to take control because you can. You really can. Other people have done it. They're not better than you. There's no reason that you can't do it, okay? So just, take some of the steps that we've taken today. Do something to move you in the right direction. Cut out some of these things, pizza, candy, chips. Save that money. Look at the savings, okay? Look at the difference, right? Spent in 10 years is 5,000. Saved, 20 years, is 10,000, right? Money builds on itself. Your money makes money. Instead of spending $15,000 on coffee, save $31,000. Could you use $31,000? I'm sure you could. Look at the effect. It's really a little bit goes a long way. I know you're sick of hearing me say it, but when it's in front of you in plain black and white, you can't argue it. And what's going to be your road? What are you going to put in place? Now, I come to the part where I ask for questions, or if anybody wants to maybe share anything that they learned today, or any commitment that they feel, you know what, I'm going to stand up in front of everybody and make a financial commitment right now that my peers are going to hold me to. So I invite anybody right now, if you have any questions, comments, you want to share anything you learned today, you just want to make a commitment that, hey, I'm going to do this, and you just want to tell everybody just to get it out of your system. So I invite anybody right now that has a question or a comment. Anyone at all? I was that good? Oh, no, there's someone up there. Excellent. Let's get you a mic, though, first. Hold on. This woman's got a mic. We'll get you a mic. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I had a question
Yes, ma'am.
for the audience, actually. I have a son in college and a daughter that'll be following in 3 years. So I wanted to see if anyone had anything that they could, like I love the envelope, that suggestion, but if anyone had any tricks or advice for college savings or just in that arena.
Anyone have any tips?
Well,
College.
I can share something. Wells Fargo actually supports a website called tuitionfundingsources.com. And on that website, there are 7 million scholarships worth $41 billion. And when your student is in their junior year of high school, they should start applying and looking for those scholarships. And we've had several students that we've worked with get several $1,000s to help them with that expense. So free money is always good money. So you might want to try that.
True story. And I know people think that scholarships aren't available. These are a lot. This is a lot of scholarships. Like she said, what is it? $40 billion?
Yeah, 7 million scholarships worth $41 billion.
Billion with a B.
And you can get multiple scholarships.
Multiple.
So it's definitely worth the look into it. And we can actually come out and do presentations around paying for college. So we've got some other topics and maybe we can do throughout the year. Somebody else?
Lady right down here had something she wanted to say. Thank you for that question, ma'am.
I like food, and that's why I go to Weight Watchers, but I'm always in the food store. Always, always in the food store. I never just go once a week, so I'm going to ask my coworker to ask me how many times I was in the food store this week. I'm going once a week.
Excellent. She made that commitment in front of everybody. We're going to hold her to that. Once a week to the food store.
Great
I'm
job.
guilty too. I like to cook, so I understand. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. We have a young lady right in the front here. And thank you guys for sharing. I do appreciate it. It makes it, the session worth more when, we hear from you guys.
I just wanted to say that the ideal of putting money aside every couple of weeks with your credit union works because I do the same thing. This is for a vacation fund or whatever I need it for. And I have at times forgotten that I had it in there. So I didn't spend the money. So it does work.
That's fantastic. Forgetting you even have the money is wonderful because it's just going to build on itself and not go anywhere. That's great. Anyone else? Well, I really want to thank you guys for taking the time to come today. I hope everyone learned something and is going to take something out of here. And I really, really want to see you next year be in a really strong financial position, okay? Thank you, guys.
We have two of our